Harihi Om. Sai Ram, Vanakkam, Namaskaram, Vandanam, Assalamu Alaikum, and Sat Sri Akal. Nice to see all of you again. Today we move on to look at a topic called sympathy. What is sympathy? You remember a couple of weeks back I did empathy, so this is in direct contrast to that. So you appreciate the distinction between what empathy was and obviously what sympathy is. If you are looking for a definition, then perhaps it's best defined as a feeling of sadness for someone else. You know, perhaps an act of expressing such feelings of sadness, of thoughtfulness with a certain person or certain event that has happened, you know. Perhaps feeling someone else's loss, or what you would say to someone else because you have that sympathy changes the way you communicate with another person, either at their loss or at something that has happened that has affected them, and obviously how that has affected you because you're feeling that emotion called sympathy. When you say you understand where someone is coming from, you know, sometimes in the course of a conversation, you say, yeah, I know, I understand what you're saying, you know, I know where you're coming from, you know. Even though you may not, but you say it, that shows, you know, a sympathetic characteristic, a feeling of pity, perhaps sorrow for the suffering, for the distress of another, you know. And that, of course, can also mean compassion, but, you know, we're looking at specifically something called sympathy. So it's a much broader thing, and many people, I think the majority of people just mean sympathy means, you know, what you feel when someone's, you know, relation dies, you know. So they associate sympathy with death or loss of life. But not really. I mean, sympathy can be in your thoughts, sympathy can be in your words, and sympathy can show itself through actions, you know. Some of the qualities that you can associate with sympathy is, you know, good listening. You know, a good listening ear is a sign of sympathy. A genuine interest in other people, you know, what they have to say, what they're doing, what you are saying, what you are doing. You know, generosity where there is no, you know, a return expected, right? So no thought of return is associated with that. That's also sympathy. And of course, certain part of empathy is also, you know, in the broad definition of sympathy. So I'll tell you a story about Lord Buddha. Buddha once, you know, when Buddha goes with all his disciples to ask for bhiksha, you know, to ask for alms, he does not ask himself for himself. He will always, you know, knock on the door and then say, you know, can you give bhiksha to, and when the person brings, he will never accept it himself. He will always ask his disciples to take it, you know, and then let them eat. And then if there is anything left, Buddha will take it. Now, one day Buddha announced that he would be receiving charity with his own hands on a particular day, right? So everybody, and of course he will give diksha. And everybody was, you know, so happy and waiting for that day to come. All the kings, the great divans, the businessmen, everybody with wealth came from near and far with riches of all sorts. And Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree. And as they gave, he reached out with one hand and he received them. And then he put it on the side. So all the big kings and all came and gave him lots of gold and coins and, you know, some even gave land, you know, written pieces of document, everything he just took in one hand and he just put it on the side, you know. Then an old lady came and everybody's wondering, what is this old lady doing here, you know? And she came to the Lord Buddha and she said, you know, sir, I am a poor woman. I have nothing, but when I heard that you were going to receive things with your own hands, at the time when I heard it, I was eating this pomegranate, and I had already taken 2 bites into it. And this is all I have. I have nothing else to give. If you would be so kind enough as to receive this half-eaten pomegranate, that will make this old lady very happy. At that point in time, Buddha reached out with both his hands and he said, "Give it to me, mother." And he took it and he put it on his lap. Now, this astonished everybody who were there, all the kings and all the divans and all the big shots who had come from far away and who had given him so much of wealth. And then here this lady is, and he reaches out with both hands, and with everyone else, just one hand, take it and put it this side, take it and put it. And the half-eaten pomegranate that he took, he's putting on his lap. So one king picked up the courage to go and ask him. He said, "Yes, sir, why is it that, whatever we have given, you have only taken with one hand and put it aside, whereas, this old woman has given you a half-eaten pomegranate, and you have accepted with both hands, and you're keeping it on your laps?" And then Buddha said, "Yeah, my dear sir, you have given me expensive gifts, right? But whatever you have given me is not even 1/10 of the riches that you all have. So you still have a lot more. Whereas the charity that this woman has given, the dana that she has given, was her entire wealth. You understand? She had, when she heard, she was eating. She stopped eating when she heard, and she came and gave everything that she had at that point when she gave. So you must understand that when you give charity, you must give it, wholeheartedly. And this is Buddha showing sympathy, for this old woman, nothing more than sympathy and acknowledgement. The story is exemplary for many reasons, right? He recognized the magnanimity and compassion that this woman had, So he was showing his sympathy, not just, in his actions, but also through his words and through his thoughts. Sympathy does not think. Sympathy does not think. It acts. It acts to remove the ceaseless sufferings of the world. That's what Swami Chinmayananda said, because everybody has, something that we can relate to from a sympathetic perspective. The more sympathy you give, the less of it you need. Very important. The more sympathy you give, the less of it you need, right? Because everybody has, everybody you meet, right? They have, either they're afraid of something, they love something, they've lost something, they want something, they need something. There's always that void there. So you should show sympathy as and when required, As the famous expression goes, in happy moments, praise God. In difficult moments, seek God. In quiet moments, worship God. In painful moments, trust God. But every moment, thank God. Shall I see you all next Thursday? Stay blessed.